More on the regulations a little later, but I want to return to a story that was making headlines earlier in the week. Many of us are still trying to make sense of the extraordinary remarks on COVID vaccines by the Chief Justice. Let me remind you, he said, if there is a vaccine with 666, I want God to destroy it. If there is any vaccine meant to corrupt the DNA of people, I'm asking God to interrupt it. Any clean vaccine, they must produce it quickly. Well, Dr. Aslam Dasoo is a widely respected member of the medical fraternity, founder of the Progressive Health Forum, and he says Mogoeng Mogoeng's statements were dangerous and an outright abuse of his office, and that he should be impeached and shown the door. He's not mincing his words. Dr. Dasoo, good afternoon to you and welcome. You go on to say this is the action of an ignorant fearmonger. Why are you so ticked off?
Good afternoon, Jeremy. Look, I think this pandemic has wrought such havoc, not least among health workers. As you know, they're at risk all the time. Many have died. This pandemic, and as the President correctly pointed out a couple of days ago, can only be managed until we get to the point of herd immunity. And our only instrument to get there is a vaccine. So we are in such a predicament, waiting for that vaccine and seeing the emergence of this denialism around an anti-vaxxer movement, that for the Chief Justice, one of the three pinnacle officers of the country, to evangelize in this way was utterly astounding. It's not just about being ticked off or that this is anything personal, but we are a constitutional state and we're a secular state. And for one of the three pinnacle officers of the government to go on like this is unacceptable and irresponsible.
Dr. Dasoo, was he not just praying for a safe vaccine? Is he not allowed to do that?
Sure, everyone can pray, and everyone should pray, those of faith, for a safe vaccine. But then to militate against vaccines as though they're instruments of the devil takes it a bit far, don't you think? Look, this is not an issue, this is not an attack on his rights to hold opinions or to hold any faith and to profess it. But he is always the Chief Justice on any public platform, and he should comport himself accordingly. This is an issue of professionalism and ethics, and I think he's breached both in this regard. What he has done is potentially jeopardize the vaccination program that could get us to herd immunity. If sufficient numbers of people listen to him and refuse to be vaccinated, as is their right, we may not go over the threshold required for herd immunity. Now that causes harm to others, and that's unacceptable.
You also go on to write, Doctor, that the remarks were, and I quote, leading people into danger. Do you think that people will not take it within the context that it was meant? Do you think that some real damage has been done?
Certainly, and we can see this kind of phenomenon in the US, particularly during the time of Donald Trump, where when leaders speak, those who look up to them as leaders are going to follow. And there's nothing, that doesn't mean that people are stupid or that they're unthinking or anything of the sort. It's that they put their faith in the person to lead them in the correct way. And so the Chief Justice, unfortunately, has no excuse here. We've had Chief Justices of the Islamic faith and of the Jewish faith and of the Christian faith. But this is the first Chief Justice who wears his religion on his judicial sleeve. This is unacceptable.
Just a quick one, Doctor, before I let you go. How much support have you got within the medical fraternity?
Oh, I think any health professional worth their salt would say pretty much what I'm saying. His words matter greatly, and he should be circumspect in what he says. The remainder of his term is about 10 months, just about coinciding with the most anxious period that we are going to face in terms of vaccination. So he should guard the remit of his office, and which is much larger than him. And he should leave his evangelizing for his preaching from his pulpit, not from a public platform at a hospital, no less.
All right, Dr. Aslam Dasoo, thank you very much indeed, founder of the Progressive Health Forum. Just to give some balance to the story, the Chief Justice saying earlier that he was adamant that no one was going to stop him praying or talking about his religion.